Right, and we're live. And Anthony is going to tell us a fantastic thing about how INFJs and INTJs differ in their
Thank you, Ben.
appreciation of the SE.
Right, thank you, Ben. So, pretty much what we're focusing on today is that the SC in the INFJ is different from the SC in the INTJ, and the SC from the INTJ is going to be similar to that of an ESFP. It'll be not wanting defensive against control, but it's not really going to be as fearless or edgy as the ESTP's SC, and that's what I really think a lot of INFJs overlook is that, hey guys, we have that SC from the ESTP that's already in us, whether you like it or not. Take it from here, Ben.
Right, so now we're going to be doing the second half of 8 Keys to Self-Leadership. This book, and Anthony, if you hold up the book and prove that you are a member of the Fellowship of the 8 Keys.
Quite a member. Member
we can have a little catch up. We can like spend about 10 minutes going on over the first few pages before we then go in depth. So Anthony, you're looking at page 71. You've got 4 things at the bottom. Those 4 bullet points. What do you think of those bullet points? I'll give you a little time to digest them.
Yeah, no time is needed. Let's keep this going quite fast. And without a doubt, energizing future is another strong point of the INFJs. Recently, I almost went through a relationship breakup, and INFJs struggle with relationships often. And if they can embrace the fact that we do have the energizing future outlook with the NI, you'll find out that you can never be in fear of loneliness because the future is very energizing and bright, whether it's a project or a relationship. And that's something I've recently learned in my NIFX, life. And
Anthony, do you?
yes,
I think it's a little bit on your Facebook profile, but people may not know. But you do a lot of like extroverted sensing stuff. And did you Could you tell us about? I think you do DJing. Is that correct?
yeah, I do music production, mainly trance and progressive. I do DJ as well, but right now at the moment, just focusing on music. I'm not going to make this a whole artist event or anything like that, but as going back to the SC, the extroverted sensing, that is our gateway to fear, is to escape fear, is SC. If we stay in NI too long, the brain or the function is very similar to the lungs, the stomach, the heart. It's just there, and it just does what it does. If you let it consume you, you will be taxed the cons of NI, which could be playing irrational, at least for us, irrational situations in our head, irrational thoughts we intuit, fear thoughts that we intuit, anything like that. And that's why there's no function that's greater than the other, except SI. I hate SI. But all the functions have a strength, and you have to balance them, though. None of them are better than the other. But if you use one too much, if you hyper-focus on one function too much, that's bad, and you will reap the cons of that function. So if you can use them all, which is NI, FE, TI, and the SE, I'm just saying those 4, as far as INFJs go, balancing those 4, you will find that the pathway, so to speak, the NF pathway, which kind of guides you to where you want to go in life. It gives you a direction.
So Dario's advice for INFJs is to develop those 4 functions plus FI.
Yeah, I would agree. I agree. The FI is weird because as far as morals, and I do a lot of enlightenment work and stuff, and INFJ is bad because you have a lot of shoulds and should nots, and if it's in reality, you're going to be violating a lot of those shoulds and should nots, taxing you some negative resistance from the ego. So with FI, it's not that special sometimes, but it does help in recognizing when somebody is crossing your line or disrespecting you and things like that in the practical day-to-day. But don't put yourself on a moral pedestal like most INFJs tend to do, including myself, of course. And we'll well, just sometimes I'm just saying I'm just suggesting consider ignoring FI and see how your life goes. Not completely, but just consider ignoring it and see and just try it out. Just try it out.
Well, it's just the way Dario defines it is staying true to yourself. So I can imagine an INFJ, and Crystal's talked about this because she's a 2, and maybe the Enneagram 2 can feel drawn to helping people so much that it's at the expense of themselves, what they want to do. It's almost like they're not enough looking after themselves. So Jonathan, does that play in there with Enneagram? What Anthony was saying there about FI?
You actually couldn't hear him all the time. He was breaking up a bit, but yeah, it could. Something to think about.
I would say about shoulds and should nots that they still belong with FE, the objective one. And FI, it's more about yourself, how you feel about this. So it's kind of the way out of shoulds and should nots. You kind of verify it by like whatever you value.
So how about
you may still follow the shoulds and should nots, but to the extent that your FI allows.
Interesting.
I've noticed that with Maria, the way she approaches functions, that she sometimes uses more Mbti slant to how she views functions. And so she's not completely conventional in the Socionics.
That's good. I like that. Yeah, because
functions.
Sometimes it seems that MBTI can have a little edge sometimes. Don't completely dismiss it either. I used to dismiss MBTI all the way.
Of course, I used to be participate in the forum of SHS, and sometimes I would bring subjects for discussion, like this is what I read in MBTI forums, and that totally makes sense. So why don't we do this?
Yes, whatever makes sense. It's not up to us; it's up to reality. So whatever makes sense, just let us know, and whatever's truth, just let us know. Whether it's good or
one
bad.
person or even a bunch of people of the same type, sometimes they kind of gravitate together because they agree about a lot. Like SHS is mostly consists of alpha and T, and they have a few feeling types for balance, but mostly they ignore a lot of what those bring. But anyway, when you try to explain that this is kind of, this may be not the objective truth, this may be part of your bias, then something new may be added to the system. I know that Dr. G, he actually adds to his system all the time, actually from listening to people. He reworks his system all the time. In a way it makes sense more.
Yeah, he'll even tolerate me talking about Kersey.
I love Kersey. I used to not like him, but he's actually not. I love his temperament theory. It's perfect. I think I hate SJs. I hate them. I think we should remove them. With a scalpel knife, please. Yeah.
Most of my family are SJs, so I don't know. I don't know how I'd feel about them if I was raised differently.
Of course, my dad is an ESTJ. All of my coworkers are SJs. It's just they do everything so normal, you know.
So yeah, for the audience, we've got here Alpha NT, NTPs, and then that's the School of Humanitarian Socionica or Socionics for SHS.
What is that exactly? A little more background.
That's Victor's school is called School of Humanitarian Socionics.
Oh wow. Oh wow. That's insane.
Why does he call it the Humanitarian Socionics?
Because it's supposed to be about people, they say they value empirical knowledge as opposed to pure system. They and also they are interested in a lot of things that are humanitarian by nature, like history or politics. in a way, they are interested in like how different cultures develop and how like the interchange of the quadras is generally a humanitarian subject, and Victor does a lot to develop.
What type?
So basically, it allows him to do the INTP thing and digress and go on to many subjects by having things fluid.
So generally, not only Victor is humanities major. He has like a philology degree. I don't know if it's the right word, but also he's a Jungian, which is also like a humanitarian thing.
Oh yeah, we could maybe do a hangout with Dario in future, because Dario's a big Jungian. And maybe if we could, he said that there's someone called Steve Myers, no relation of Isabel Myers, who's a big Jungian living in the UK.
So Victor's an INTP, correct?
Yes, T-I-N-E or T-I-N-X in my notation, because I want to emphasize how strong the creative function is. So yeah, so if you say a few bits more on those bullet points on the bottom of page 71, Anthony, then we can... Oh yeah, I think there's not much there. If you want to say something, I mean, I've just had a look, there's not really that much to say, I suppose.
Yeah, see, with the big questions, I almost feel like I'm, like, being extroverted think like it puts a brake on me, but if we get the momentum going and as the insights sporadically come out, that's the best.
Okay, so if we go over to the next page, if you tell us, if you look through in that first block which says part 1, if you sort of like go through each line and sort of like, so for instance the first one, maybe you could tell me about this. Experience a sudden aha realization about a problem, coming as if out of nowhere.
In reality, there is no ahas. For me, there's just probably a long list of insights, and you could choose 1 or 2 or 3. That's what it feels like for me. And symbols, archetypal. Okay, so as far as symbols, I love charts, reading charts, diagram systems. Mysterious, if it has to do with ego and the self, yeah, I guess that attracts my attention. Premonitions and foresee the unexpected. Now I experience more irrational situations of that never occur in reality. For me, premonitions, no. It's mostly. Like, there is no INFJ that can predict the future. I don't care who you are.
Could it be like, EJR&D once said, maybe the NI types can go, oh, I can see how this situation can go, or maybe how this relationship might go.
Yeah, no, that's different.
Yeah.
That's like more like a coach type of thing, but that, you know, a coach in a football team, maybe they know the best strategy to get to the end result, because we are result oriented.
I mean, from my point of view, if NI were any good, the bookmakers would be out of business.
Right. Yeah, it's a good function, but it's not like a psychic, like crazy phenomenon. Nothing like that. It's like every 100 questions you're asked, you're gonna know the answer to. You're gonna know like the answer to maybe 90%, 80% of them, or something. I don't know. That's not. Never mind. That was not a good analogy. Keep going. Keep it going.
Then we got part 2.
I do get profound realizations. The last one that I was thinking of was how there's introverted and extroverted sensing, introverted and extroverted intuiting, introverted and extroverted, and so on and so forth, or whatever. There are some people that are so unaware of their ego and their psychological type, I think they're unaware that there's even introverted functions to begin with. Example, an ESFJ has the extroverted feeling. They have introverted sensing as the second function, and the next one is extroverted intuiting, and then they have
TI.
TI, right? And I just want to keep it practical and for everyday use. And I think there are people out there that just, like my boss, like, she's a nice person and she does good. She has SI. She may not know it's SI, though it's just a memory. And she doesn't know how exactly it works. And then she has the extroverted intuiting. I don't know. I think there's just a lot of like, people don't know their own potential is what I'm trying to say. And go ahead.
I think ESFJs can vary a lot in terms of their intelligence level.
Okay, that's definitely true.
Because some of them are like the profiles where they are like closet nerds, and like, but some of them aren't, because ultimately they are sensing types. I mean, some of the other people. It's just like with other things. Some people have a really strong suggestive function. It's like I think for you, Anthony, you have quite a strong extroverted sensation as a suggestive function.
Thank you. Thank you. So what you're saying is that it's not an 8-year-old process. It's maybe more like a 13 or 14-year-old at my SC. Because that's how I look at the skill levels of the functions. It's by ages, like mental ages. Maybe NI would be like my actual age, maybe 22 or 23 or whatever. And FE maybe a little lower, 18 or something. And then TI would be like 12-year-old, 10-year-old process, and SE would be like a 5-year-old, 8-year-old process.
Yeah, but I think maybe Jonathan would agree. Like the FE in an INFJ is probably age 40-odd compared to like most other people that aren't FJs.
Yeah, I would say that's true.
Oh, yeah. I think it's probably older than anyone alive sometimes.
I know.
I don't care how old you are. There's no maturity. Age does not bring wisdom.
Yeah, because I suppose with the NFJs is that you've got this thing where you can read the emotions of other people and you can see the way things are going to go. You can see the knock-on effects of how this action might affect somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And with the NI, you see the consequences.
At least with me, you bring up a really good discussion, because there is the egoic thoughts that you're intuiting, but then there's the actions that occur in reality. So just because a person intuits maybe thoughts of anger or whatever does not mean they're going to act on them. So I could see somebody who seems angry, but I just don't know if they're going to do something quite yet with complete certainty, because they may not act on that out of conscience.
Yeah. I agree with that. It's difficult to tell at times. Sometimes you really think something's going one way and then it doesn't, or it's going another way. So it's like you can
that's
see
the beauty of reality. Good. Yes.
Yeah, it's like you can see there's a handful of ways this could go and you don't know exactly which one, but you try to avert the worst.
Next time you can speak, Maria, could you please tell us about how this sort of like, what do they call it, vortex synergetic thought pattern of the INFJ? Whenever you can next switch your mic on, you can tell us about that, and then we can see how Jonathan and Anthony relate to that. Right, so at the moment, so whenever you switch your mic on, we'll let you talk about that. So at the moment we have,
sometimes I feel like Maria's code is just XXXX, because she just knows everything about all this stuff.
Can you guys repeat what you've been talking about? Because I get a lot of distractions and I didn't hear part of it.
Yeah, I was just... I can't remember what Anthony was saying, but I was saying...
we're talking about acting upon, or intuiting thoughts versus acting upon thoughts. So, and us as INFJs being able to read the emotional atmosphere in the room, and if we're able to predict people's actions or not.
What is versus what again?
The example that I used was, let's say we see a person who's angry in a room, and we know that they're angry, or maybe a more subtle emotion, but we can see the emotion, but we don't know what they're going to do with that emotion yet. They may be feeling a certain way, but doesn't mean they're going to act upon those emotions. And that we find a lot of gray there, is what we're saying. But Ben was talking about the vortex way of thinking for INFJs.
Yeah. I was just wondered what that is like, Maria, if you could describe that.
At least I can say that do you want me to describe the vertical thinking?
Yes. Fantastic.
It's supposed to kind of unroll on you, and it goes in different directions at the same time, because I can, for instance, because for left types your extroverted intuition is powered by your work process. Every time you do something, you get a lot of like offshoots of different ideas, which are sometimes heading in different directions. So when I start doing something, I usually start at, there are many turning points when I start some like smaller processes. That's kind of, that's not fun to see, because it ends up being chaotic. And thinking is very much the same way. You get lost in like the thinking, like secondary thoughts and tertiary thoughts and so on.
Wow, that's interesting. So we could have primary, auxiliary, and tertiary thoughts?
I wouldn't call it this way because it can be confused with functions. They just branch out. Branching out is the accurate description of vertical thinking.
So it's sort of like a twister that sucks in lots of different thoughts and emotions, and is sort of dynamic, and because it's left. There's left dynamic. Can't remember what the other dichotomy was.
It is also left positive. This is dynamic, because negatives are more cautious about how they think or how they do things. But positivists are just go ahead and start a lot of things.
Yeah, she has an SP child. I think ESFP. She has an SP.
God, no, I'm just kidding.
My 3-year-old is ISTP, but he's almost 3-year-old, so he's typical of his age. He doesn't have much patience.
Does he ride a little toy motorbike? Maria.
What did you say?
Does he ride the little toy motorbike?
No. Well, I would never let him. And besides, his father is INTJ, so no way.
Yeah, negative consequences.
What does Maria think of ESTPs?
Oh, what's the question again?
What's your impression of ESTPs?
Well, first of all, it depends on the kind of ESTP. I don't know what to say, because it's always different, and they
at least in your personal experience.
Yeah. First of all, I have an ESTP father, and of course I think he's the best and so on. But many of them kind of strike me as very emotional people. Not all of them, but like there is a lot of
It's in there somewhere. Is what you're saying.
A big subpopulation of them are very emotional.
Yeah, Maria. Victor thinks that Donald Trump might be an ESFP, but do you think he's an ESTP, Donald Trump?
Oh, your question is completely lost on someone like me because I don't watch TV, so I've never seen any speech by Donald Trump. I just heard like quotes chopped from what he's been saying and like general.
It's like in big neon light.
He claims to do.
vibrate.
But generally, I'm not big on news, politics, and so on.
Maria, how long have
Very
you been
diplomatic.
studying? How long have you, if you don't mind me asking, how long have you been studying MBTI, Socionics, just the topics that we love so much?
I believe it's a little over 20 years.
Oh wow!
I started with Jung. I bought like psychological types by Jung when it was about 20 years ago.
One last question.
She started when she was 8 years old because Maria is only 28.
Are you serious? Is that true, Maria?
Ben is, Ben always knows everybody's timing better than they do. Well, of course, in fact, I'm 42, so it was short after college.
No problem. I don't care. Because with women and the age, okay. But anyways, the question for you, if you don't mind me asking, is as you've gone through your journey of psychological knowledge and everything, do you feel that it's also maybe a little bit difficult to relate with the average person?
What do you think makes it difficult to relate?
That most people, it's just that all you would like to do is talk about the subject, and in reality, I mean, let's just face it, 80% censors, it's hard to kind of like catch a topic. I mean, I'm sure you probably talk about your kids and stuff like that, but I know there is a part of you that also wants to talk about all of this.
In fact, some people who are not very big on typology, they observe people to the extent that they actually come up with these categories by themselves.
Yeah,
especially sensory types.
That is so crazy.
Which collect information a lot. Sometimes they would have. It's like Pascal, I believe, created his own geometry when he was like a little child. But a lot of people create their own typology the same way. And they come up with surprisingly similar categories, like process versus result process versus outcome.
Or just extroverted thinking. Good.
Yeah, a friend of mine once was talking about people, and she said, because you are about outcome, and me and my husband are about process. And she never heard about Socionics, which have this category as one of the descriptions of left versus right social progress. It was surprising, and there are many such occasions. So once you deal with, first of all, right now among my Russian friends, most have at least some idea about typology.
Oh wow.
If a person resists using the ideas from typology and resists talking about it, most of the time they have some psychological baggage to deal with.
Oh wow,
so
that
they kind
is
of
genius.
push away any knowledge on that because it gets in the way of their imposing the uniform standards on people, which they really like to do.
No problem. We understand.
And we know that even people who don't know about typology, they've heard the word introvert, they've heard the word extrovert.
Yes.
Yeah.
They know what the phrase "by the book" means because they see these patterns, because they know what they'll say things like, "Oh, he's the sort of person who, he's the type of person who it's like, oh, he's reverting to type." That's out of character. So human beings have to see these patterns in order to live in society.
Yes. Great one, Ben. Great one.
Worst case scenario, you can hear like you're a typical Pisces.
Oh yeah, even that works as well. I mean, if you can, and I think learning Kersey theory is a good way because then you can talk to people. Because it's an easy thing to talk about in English, because you don't have to use functions. You can talk about the temperament, and people only have to remember 4 things, and you can sort of say, you know, he's the jock. He's sort of like, and so that you can, and then also with enneagrams can be used as well. Without talking about the numbers, you can say the type. So, for instance, Jonathan, if we were to have a hangout with David Kersey Jr. and you were to bring in, say, different kinds of counsellor idealist, and if you were to say, oh, they're the kind of counsellor that's the reformer, or they're the kind that's the helper, then he would instantly understand that without having to learn a new framework. So you can like change the language to like put it into English without using the numbers, without using like disintegrate and all that sort of. So it can be talked about in those terms, and I think that's good practice for talking to people who don't know the theory, all the jargon.
Also, many moms seem to want to know more about typology because they have some things about their kids which are driving them nuts, or they see their own shortcomings and something that they're deficient at, and they want to know how to deal with. Because parenting is a very science-intensive field.
Oh yeah, I mean they'll notice how
I agree.
Kids are different as well. They'll notice how their children are different. It's like, why are they so different? They're brought up in the same house. I've taught them the same.
No. No, reality doesn't care about your preferences. It cares about its own.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Right. So then we've got a few more. We've got 3 things at the bottom of page 72, Anthony. We've got.
Getting there right now, getting there. Oh, that was a good little conclusion there. Okay, part 3, right?
Yep.
Yes, of course, synthesize a new idea that transcends various opposing points of view. Donald Trump, perfect. Yeah, we need to get these immigrants out of here. No, I'm just kidding. That's too bad.
He wants immigrants to work on his building sites.
He doesn't want to. I don't know. But
he just doesn't want them. He wants them. He just doesn't want them to be there.
The thing is with Donald Trump is he wants votes, and he'll say anything to get votes.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't really have any FI. He doesn't have these feelings either way. The only things he has feelings for are people who criticise him. Then he gets really rattled.
Well, I truly believe all politicians ignore FI to the max. I don't care who you are, just as a job. This is a radical point of view, and you don't have to take it. Go ahead and argue me. I don't care. But I do believe that the politicians that we currently can vote for, they don't have intelligence in, let's say, so much political, and I'm sure they have a little bit, but I think their intelligence rather lies in public speaking and just being able to.
I think it's rubbish.
Yeah, it's
terrible. I mean, because in Britain they do a lot more debate and really going at each other. But I think that
I gotta check those out, and I would be interested in watching those.
Yeah, if you just see the House of Commons like Prime Minister's questions, they're really going at each other.
Yeah, I would like to see that. That'd be cool. I'll write that down.
And they like the adversarial approach.
House of Commons, huh?
Yep.
House of Commons debates. There'll be hundreds of them on YouTube.
Right.
And actually, you can see how much they enjoy it.
Right.
Like, even though they're like shouting at each other, like really going at each other. Now, the one who couldn't handle it, someone like Tony Blair loved that atmosphere, but someone like Gordon Brown, you could see he got rattled. He could not take it. Did not enjoy that process. And
overstimulation, probably.
Just not a very good debater.
I think it might be an INTJ.
Yeah, that matches. Matches. Lack of expression.
Yeah, because I know he was a prodigy when he was younger. He got a degree quite young.
Part of that was, He went to university when he was 16.
Yeah.
I think he had bad eyesight.
Yeah, from a rugby match, I think, actually.
Rugby accident, I think, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, Jeremy Corbyn does not enjoy it at all, and quite a few people in Labour don't enjoy the argument.
Well, that's because because in that situation where if you're on the side that's putting forth well, they should be better at it. I mean, it depends. It depends on. Anyway, we'll get distracted. Now, so we're at the bottom. I don't want another Jonathan to go ultra Scottish and go only at the bottom of the second page.
That's funny. But you know whose videos I enjoy quite a bit? Michael Castillo's. I like a few of his videos. Has he ever done a hangout or no?
I don't know him. I've heard of Michael Pearce, but not of Michael Castillo.
Yeah, check out some of his videos. They're not half bad. They're not too long, and he's INTJ.
Right. So we can
just check him out.
Okay. So these bottom 2 points is basically about personal change and change within yourself and how you need to be. What are sort of your thoughts on that and about how you want to change and things like that, your own personal development?
Generally, it's for me sensitivity versus insensitivity. SE and TR are very insensitive functions versus NI and FE, the very sensitive functions, I would say. Maybe not so much NI, but just speaking
I was just thinking
INTJ.
But you could say that INTJs are internally very sensitive. It's just emo notes.
Because of that 10-year-old FI. Go ahead.
I was going to say that it's kind of looks interesting from I don't know how to describe it, but sometimes the INTJs, especially women, are surprisingly accommodating and considerate.
I agree.
And because of that, they have like huge number of fans, and they always they're very popular and so on. But it's because of the NI, they kind of see the essence of the person and try to accommodate, work around it.
Interesting. I agree.
I'd like to do a hangout with those kind of INTJs if you know any, Maria. See how charismatic they are.
The problem is they INTJs are also very practical, and if they don't see the they use that sensitivity to get people to work for them, but they're not likely to just come work for you because they usually already have their own interests developed enough, and they will try to do their own gig.
Oh yes. Yeah. Very difficult to get INTJs into hangouts because, unless there's what's in it for me. So that's like Dario's FE chapter where he emphasizes the benefit to the individual.
Right. Oh God, sorry.
I can give it the summary of and then if we go on the next page, it's so I don't want to go too much in depth, but because I don't want to read it all out, I don't want Dario to put a hit out on me. That's the joke I used last time. Is that do you ever do this thing of quieting your mind, like really making it quiet and meditating, things like that? How does that work for you?
For me or Jonathan?
For you, Anthony, and then Jonathan can comment on that.
Oh.
See if you.
For me, yes. I think all NI dominants suffer from overactive thinking, overthinking, excessive thinking. That's why if you balance it with the SC, you can control the amount of thinking you. Generally irrational, and it's just not. It does more bad than good.
Anthony, it might be better if you log out and then log back in again, because it sort of like freshens things up, make the connection.
No problem.
Mover, and then right.
I can say how it works for me. I sometimes just when I see that my brain activity is leading me nowhere, I just kind of stop it, and I can just pray that the useful information is sent to me by any other means rather than me thinking. And then I just follow my guts and just go around doing stuff, and I get to this information one or another way.
When you said pray, that made me think. Literally, are religious INFJs? Is there when they are praying? Do they sort of like go into like an NI state and stuff? Do you get that, Jonathan?
Sometimes.
Oh wait, I think I missed something. What are you guys talking about?
I was just thinking, like, if someone's going into like a state of prayer and a still point, I was wondering if that's bound up with NI. Because I'm not religious and I'm not an INFJ, so I don't know.
I'm not really religious either.
Well, for me, prayer is not really much of an activity. It's just kind of making a statement to myself that I will trust God to send me the information that I need. And sometimes it just pops out in my brain. But sometimes just, I don't know if it's just stopping your own activity that works, or it's a real connection. It's a big question.
I know.
But it's important to kind of give up on your conscious activity. It's like what they call sleeping on it. Doing all the preparation that you can and then giving up.
Yes, that's one of Dario's exercises.
Yeah.
That's exactly one of Dario's exercises. Like, think about it. If you see, the thing is, for me, there's loads of people that do that, and then they can't sleep because they've got insomnia, because they've got all this stress from the thing that's worrying them. I mean, these sleepless nights.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true.
It is well known that when you try to recall a word or a phrase or some idea, it usually doesn't come to your mind, but it will come a few minutes after you switch the subject.
Oh, I've got something for the. When you said that there about how long it takes to recall some, Maria, did you see the video? I sent a video and like tagged you and I tagged Jonathan for like Dario talking about midlife for in type development.
Not yet. I've had a really busy weekend.
Okay. Well, one of the things he said is that younger people can have like a response time of like 1.5 seconds, and then people who are in their 40s might have a response time of about 2 or 3 seconds, and then someone who's 80 might have a response time of 4 seconds. But he said it's like the relationship is statistical, and there was like one ESFJ I talked to who was in Australia, and you've got to think there's like a slight delay on the phone, but like she gets things so quickly. It's like her response time must be like 1/2 second. She's in her early 40s, so maybe that's like an FE thing where you just, I don't know.
Yeah, it could be an FE because what is she saying? Is it TI based or not?
Yeah, I would say that it may have to do with dialectic way of thinking. Usually the dialectic thinkers, they know in advance what the person is going to tell them. Right. Or at least they think so. So they have the answer ready by the time you finish.
Well, usually what I say when someone says that is like, you said that quickly. It's as if you say to someone, do you think people underestimate your smarts? And she says, yes, really quickly. You said that quickly.
Yeah, I'm sure they do because they're not really putting thinking into it, at least not precision thinking.
Exactly. And she said to me at one point, or I rephrase things, an ESFJ will sometimes, if an ESFJ is smart, when they're at school, they'll pretend not to be so smart so that they fit in.
Right. Oh, I hate.
Actually, it really depends on the person because both me and my father, the STP, to respond because we have our nonverbal facilities. Are
someone like Carly Fiorina, so like ENTJ, very quick, very like on the ball, this quick thinking mindset. And Dario says that they have a problem with being original, but like when they're thinking within the box, they can think very quickly. And like if you give them, say, a problem that they're familiar with, they can solve it extremely quickly.
Like a basketball game.
Yeah, it also may have to do with being a declaring versus questioning type. Declaring type are faster to respond because they also already know the answer.
Yeah, because it's like it is this way, and then.
Yeah, usually the declaring type doesn't do much of dialogue with you. They try to kind of make up their mind about what situation you're in, or generally what the situation is like, and then they have like a set of ready-made things to say or do in such a situation. They will not go into detail about how this situation is different from like every other one like this. They will just like get a rough estimate and then shoot out.
Yeah, and also it's their main thought, their main motivation is like speed things up, time is money, let's be quick, let's be efficient, and that comes through in their own thought processes. Like let's be quick, let's be efficient, no messing around.
But you don't even know like what to do, ENTJ. You know, like I don't know. I really don't like ENTJs. ENTJs are quite overrated. I hate it. I don't really like TE either. I think TE sucks too. Yeah. Keep it going. Keep it going.
That would be great when we in future. That would be a good hangout when we do TE. It'd be all like you.
I would love to do that because I need to work on mine.
Complaining about the function.
Yeah.
So. Okay. I can ask. Okay, let's actually question. There's a bit here. The way Dario defines NI, because I never really asked Maria last time what she thinks of Dario's definition of NI. Because, so he said something like this, Maria. At the core of introverted intuiting is a meta perspective, a way of seeing things that transcends competing views. Right, and it says they're going to a translate mode, so it's almost as if it's like an unconscious version of holographic panoramic.
What is that, Ben?
You see, the thing is, I'm trying to talk about it without quoting too much, because I'll buy the book.
Just do it all TI. Talk about it in a TI way, and we'll understand perfectly.
Okay. The way he describes the meta perspective is, I'm thinking, well, actually, that's more like TI minus, where we'll look at something from lots of different angles and then put it together to get like a final picture. The example they usually use of is like if you look at a cylinder from the end, you see a circle, and if you look at it from the side, you see like an oblong. But if you combine those two images from those different viewpoints, you then realize what it is. It's a cylinder. So it's like you can imagine in our case in typology. If you
that's genius.
If you look at somebody, there are lots of different things do this.
No, I understand. Jonathan, you understand too, huh? Yeah. No, we get what you're talking about. I think a lot of INFJs do think like that. They check everything. I think INTJs do it on a more rational level, but when the INFJ does it, they do it on the feeling level, and that could be quite crazy.
Lots hate it. Like Olga Tangerine hates it. It's like, why do you keep using different? Why do you not stick to one thing? There's a mixed pot of potpourri.
Who is that?
Olga Tangerine.
It's someone who will never ever come back if she sees this video.
Oh, who is that though?
Olga Tangerine.
Elena, the ESFJ who translates it.
No. ESI, FISX, Olga Tangerine.
Huh? Oh. Okay, I got.
She's the head. She does associated socionics. She types people by their colour preferences.
Okay.
What?
She's any-polar, so she doesn't like different points of view and combining them.
She's at ISFP?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and she has a job? Oh, wow. No, I'm just kidding.
No, she does, she does,
Who am I thinking of? ESFJ that translates for...
no, why are you thinking of ESFJs?
I don't know anymore. Maybe
Hey!
I've been mistaken all this time.
Right. There are a lot of leaners, O-leaners, Olga Tangiman, and she actually pronounces her name like that, Tangiman. I'm like, oh my god, that's what a little small kid would call it. Somebody who sells oranges. It's the Tangiman. Right, or the one that sells orange juice, the Tangiman.
The Tenji Man. That sounds funny.
So okay, so the meta perspective is, I think that's a tee up, but he does say, right? Okay, I think INTP, they'll look at something consciously and they'll. So even his typology will say, well, if we look at it with this framework, if we look at it with the Socionics framework. And then we'll go say, oh, okay, if we look at the Kersey framework, or if we look at it with like the Enneagram framework, or if we use like a different system, and then we can sort of like combine them to sort of like get this thing. Whereas the way he's describing it here is NI, I think, takes all the information in from these different angles, then goes into a trance-like state, and then suddenly the answer pops into their mind, and then they might be able to work it out backwards. Is it like that, Jonathan? I don't know.
I don't think so. I think go ahead, Jonathan, sorry.
It's kind of like seeing a kaleidoscope of different perspectives. It's like I'm not thinking about different systems. I'm usually thinking about different philosophies or different points of view, the way different people see it, and
right, that's a good point. Because the interest, because you're NF, the type of thinking will lend itself more towards the emotions and people rather than abstract systems. Yeah. That's right.
I think INTJs are better at seeing different sides of the argument, whereas INFJs are more about seeing different points of view. That's how I tend to think.
I agree.
Yeah,
so like you might think about where someone's coming from in their personal experience and why they think that.
Mm-hmm. For example.
Yeah, very deep, very deep.
Right, so you're not actually thinking of the argument, you're thinking of the person who's saying the argument.
I am thinking of the argument, but from the point of view of the person that's in trouble.
Right, gotcha.
And
whereas then NTs can actually forget that there's a person there.
Yeah. NTs are inferior, let's face it. They're not because people are more. Seeing people's points of view can be more complex. They're a bit harder to work out, whereas an argument can be quite simple by comparison.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I can see different side of an argument as well, but it's when you start considering the people, it gets more complicated.
You see that on Facebook, where I think these NTs they forget that there's a human being at the end of that. It's like they just see the argument and they'll post on Facebook, "Oh, you effing stupid." I'm thinking everybody else can see that. Their friends can see that. Everyone can see that, and they're going to think, I'm not going to talk to you because if I ever make a slight mistake, are you going to bite my head off?
Yeah, but they could take it too.
No,
that's what a lot of people don't do to them. Is that
I think a lot of them think they can take it better than they actually can.
That's the thing. EJ talks about that, where he thinks that INTJs think they can put it on, but once they experience an ESTP, they really love. Because if you have an if you have an INTJ, and he talks about the fact that EJ said in one of his videos, probably not there anymore, that INTJs only have a certain amount of energy. Mm-hmm. But if you have a debate between an intelligent ESTP, and like they're just going to feed on that energy. Mm-hmm. They're just going to keep, and they're going to love that, and the INTJ is going to run out of energy way before the ESTP.
Oh yeah.
Because they love it's like when they do the inside the brain of the ESTP. It's like, I mean, that bit fight me on board is so
Yeah.
true of Jeff's son. Really is. And I don't know, Anthony, have you seen Battlestar Galactica Mark II
No, I
with
have
Katie
not.
Sackhoff as Starbuck? She is so ESTP. And the brilliance with that, Jonathan, is she is such a good actress. Like 10 out of 10, amazing. Playing this ESTP character. And they gave her stuff to act, which was like, it was almost like taking the mickey in terms of like, let's get her to do this thing, and she was able to do it. Able to pull it off. Amazing. Amazing acting. It really set the bar for me.
Yeah.
Right.
I like how the ESTP. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go on.
I like how the ESTP has the TE behind that SC, and they tend to speak really clearly, and they know how much to say. They don't use too many words to put their point across, and I think that's due to their TE, and I admire that in them. The precision speaking.
Actually, I could ask Maria about that. I mean, it's a
Uh,
slight
yeah.
digression.
Yeah,
Something first.
I also found that if I come across a female, especially female ESTP, I tend to really like them for their manners. They being emotivist type, they try to maintain pleasant atmosphere, and they like to have fun. They joke a lot.
Yes, they do.
So usually we end up just cracking each other up.
Oh, I have so I have an ESSJ friend, and her friend, I believe, is an ESTP because she likes doing drifting in the outback. So like take a car into the outback and just spin it around in the dirt.
Yes.
But she said that all of her other friends worry about, but she can just like be in the back texting, and she's like ESFJ, and she's like it doesn't bother her, and even though she's in the back of the car that's drifting around. And this friend of hers, like I checked out her Facebook, she's like involved in construction, and she was writing about she's much better than the men there. They don't know what they're doing, and I'm thinking this chick is an ESTP.
Oh yeah, you better believe it.
I also really like ESTP characters in movies, like the main character in True Grit, or the character in Avatar who was like driving a helicopter. She's really kind of fun to look at. She has that warmth of the ESTP.
Was that Michelle
Women.
Rodriguez, I think?
Oh yeah, in Aliens. I think might be somebody else.
No, I said you
I
say
can't remember
Avatar.
the name. I can't remember the name. There's a Hispanic character in Aliens, and she's like an ESTP.
Oh,
Yeah, and also most of Rachel White's characters are ESTP too.
Maybe.
The Joker from The Dark Knight, ESTP there.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
And,
I think he's ENT.
like there are fewer male characters that I've seen, but most of Russell Crowe characters are ESTP.
Yeah, I mean, in real life, he has some ESTP-like qualities. But
Celebrity Types has him as INTJ, full enough.
Yeah, actually, one of my favorite movies, The Next 3 Days, is about the dual couple, ESTP husband and INFJ wife. And it's really, I remember reading a review on that movie, and it said, it was like INTJ critic saying that I don't understand why so many good actors invested in such an unlikely plot. And the answer would be that it's unlikely as far as TE, like, how things happen in real life, but psychologically it is very true, and that's what made them invest.
Ah, yes, that's like in Shakespeare.
What's the movie? What movie is it, Maria?
The Next 3 Days, I believe the name is. It also has Russell Crowe.
He's a tricky one to I think he might be, but again, you can have a situation like with Anthony here, where you can have you can have somebody who's like in between an SP and then have a lot of SE in them or have a lot of NI in them. So it can be.
Yeah.
I think it's either beta or gamma for Russell Crowe.
Yeah. He said that some of the stories about him were really overblown, like he never really assaulted that photographer or whatever. He could be. I don't know if he.
Yeah, but there was this thing though where if you're het up, the thing is though in America, like with flipping with these paparazzi. I mean, you want to have bodyguards just to beat them up? Then you can have.
This was Britain. This was years ago at the BAFTAs. He allegedly assaulted.
This is what he did. This is what happened. I remember this story. He was reading out a poem.
Yeah.
As part of his acceptance speech, and the director edited it down.
Yeah. And
he went up to him and said, "Hey, you should just like put him up against the wall. Hey, probably think, hey, that's my big moment. This means a lot to me." And then, that kind of, and then he just pushed him up against the wall apparently. And he said, "This is what Jonathan," and this is what he said. "Yeah, I might have given him a little bit of a poke." My Australian accent was rubbish then. I've got to try and go back into the zone. I have to get into the zone to do an Australian. The flaming mongrels. That's it. I went into the Australian then. I have to start off with flaming mongrels.
By the way, can I say that? Can I say that I want to bring attention to something? In a video once you killed a spider, Ben. I found a little spider on my computer, and I managed to get it off and send it on its way without doing anything in the middle of this video.
It hit my brake function though. It's an atavistic fear. I hate spiders.
I just want to show that we don't have to kill things on this channel. Anyway, I'm bringing order to this Eddie hangout.
You did it then. That's it. You're an extra Scottish.
Scottish.
Back on topic. Back on topic.
That was funny. That was ESTP right there.
I suppose it's this.
If there was a topic.
Right. So yeah, right. So what we can do with Anthony, and then we can get on with the case studies and stuff. So if we go to page 75, Anthony, and it's called oh my God, there's Dario going into NF mode. I'll just read this bit out. I'll put Dario going into NF mode. Even then, there is still a sense of paradox, that something can and cannot be at the same time. And there remains a feeling that everything we think we know and everything we do reflect just one understanding among infinite levels of reality. Right.
That's normal.
Right. Okay. If you see mindset and feedback, if you have a read of that, Anthony, then you let us know what you think, please.
Yes, no problem. Yeah. And at the bottom of 75, right?
Yeah, in the middle of page 75, it says mindset and feedback. So if you tell us about what you think of that, and then after that we can do possible misuses, and then
2 hours in we can actually do part 2 of this.
We can actually what? What was that?
This is yesterday we did a video that's about 2 hours long.
Friday, yeah.
We still haven't got to where we were.
No, I can't stay for that long.
What happened was 40 minutes in, we were like still at the bottom of the first page, but all we had looked at were those 4 lines.
I'm sure, yeah, that's how it goes. It takes away the spontaneous NI insights that we produce.
Yeah, this is
if we just go structured.
Thing is, this is supposed to be part 2 of that video. We're supposed to be moving on.
No, we're recapping though because Anthony has joined us, so we're getting good stuff from Anthony.
Yes, we're getting very good stuff, but we're not moved on.
We're not moving. We're not moving.
Come on, Jonathan, you're not an ENTJ. You're not an ENTJ. They're like moving.
I know. I hate ENTJs.
I had. How about Alan Sugar being ENTJ when he went on Jonathan Ross and he says, "You should do this show like this. Like, everyone on for 5 minutes, say what film you're doing, then off." That's how he would do it. He said how he would do the Jonathan Ross show. So I think Alan Sugar might be an ENTJ.
Oh God. No comment at this point, but let me see.
I actually think you might like him, Anthony, Alan Sugar. He's like a nice version of Donald Trump. Yeah, I think you probably like Alan Sugar.
Every NTJ I've met, I've always just automatically like.
What? Well,
Just not like them.
Let me check with Jonathan. Do you think he is ENTJ, Alan Sugar?
Possibly. Yeah. He's not as entertaining as Donald Trump. He's not as entertaining as Donald Trump. Don't know if he's nice. I don't know if he's nicer actually, because maybe just more professional.
Oh yeah, and he was involved in the computer business. So for instance, folks, Amstrad Computers, that comes from Alan Michael Sugar Trading. That's where Amstrad comes from. A lot of it is Jewish humour, London Jewish boy humour. Right, which anyway, so mindset and feedback. Anthony, your thoughts? I'll let you digest that. There's a couple of paragraphs in the middle.
I just had a question for you, Ben. A little off topic. How are what's your take on the gun law?
He's
in the UK. Just wanted to know because I know you're from the UK.
What? Gun laws?
Yeah, as in
in the middle of an NI hangout. I mean, come on, don't tempt me to doing anything. Please.
Okay,
I don't want to go too much. I'm someone who believes in the right to self-defense, but I also believe in a concept called duty of care, which means that people need to be responsible. So, but it's a little bit hypocritical in the UK. So, for instance, that if you're in the countryside, there are people with guns. Like you can notice things like there's a place here in Leicester called it would be like the Kilby gun club, and people don't keep the guns at the gun club because otherwise the criminals would break into the gun club and steal all the guns. People take their guns home. So there's a little bit. So if you're in the countryside, people have guns. But if you're in the city, people don't. And the reason why is because it's what the police want, and the police have power.
It generally speaking, it works.
Well, I'm a gun rights person, but I don't want to talk about that. I might lose some NF viewers.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well,
America's problem not just gun laws, it's gun culture. So things. So we have very strict gun laws over here, but we never really had a gun problem in the first place. So.
Okay.
It's a little bit different.
Okay. Moving back to the book, because I know Ben's probably just like.
I want to have a libertarian hangouts in future with Rachel Webb, who's a fellow libertarian. Good on her.
Yeah. It was just one question. That's it. I just wanted to know.
Yeah, fair enough. But typology. I will digress within the subject of typology, but I have to. This is like TI with the NE horse, the TI rider. So it's like you maybe feel saying to NE DOMs, where is your rider? You seem to be an undisciplined wild horse of NE. So my rider says, you can digress, Ben, as long as it's within the realm of typology.
Got it.
Right. And then Jonathan says, no! So yeah, mindset and feedback. So what do you think of that first paragraph, Anthony?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, give me 1 second, please.
Okay.
I love the part when it says, when we reach a new peak, we have a tremendous feeling of power and wisdom. The last time, I don't really have much to say about that one. There's not really much that really stood out to me. So go ahead and move on to the next topic.
Yeah, that's my message to our one viewer. Thanks, our one viewer.
That's funny.
Right, so, and I think Jonathan liked that bit in the first hangout. Anything to add on that, Jonathan? That first paragraph under mindset and feedback?
No, let's just move past that and the next one so we can...
Yeah, it seemed like rhetoric.
Okay, yeah,
apology rhetoric.
Yeah, so if we go possible misuses.
We're so close to continuing this hangout, to getting to where we're supposed to be.
Right, so yeah, this bit. So Jonathan's already gone through possible misuses in the previous hangout. So I'd like to focus on you, Anthony, for these. So the bottom of page 75, possible misuses.
Yes, give me 1 second. Yeah, the misuse, in my opinion, is just hyper focusing on only NI. That INFJs are more than just their NI; they're all the functions in a specific order, and to hyper focus on that one function will cause issues, anxiety, fear.
So what does it look like when an INFJ is stuck in that function? What does from a behavioural point, but what does it look like?
I know exactly what it looks like. It looks like that person is just is kind of like not in the moment. They're thinking about something else. They're not in right now. They're not with us right now. They're with us physically, but mentally they're not. They're thinking of something else, and I do that a lot.
Right,
and,
Anthony.
Yeah.
I think that when you read the SE section of Dario's book, you might have to take a cold shower afterwards because you'll love it so much. Because it will be like, ooh. Because that's all about being in the present context where you quieten your mind.
Yeah.
And you are just in this state where you are ready to react to everything because you're just so much focused on the context that you are in.
Yeah, I forgot which book I read. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
So you're so focused on the context so you can imagine in sports and in performing arts where you're so much in the moment that you're reacting naturally and improvising quickly within the moment, so much within the present context, and that is so different from the NE mindset, where it always going across context and being internally distracted, which is why we NPs will be terrible racing car drivers, because we'll get a thought into our heads and then crash and die. We get to be in the moment and totally react and be in the zone. And what made me think of that is there's a little bit of a relationship there of where NI might be the zone inside of you, SE might be the zone outside of you.
Yes, and SE is initiating, I believe. I think all introverted functions have a reactive, defensive approach, like they kind of wait like a sniper, and SE's kind of like a initiating action.
So might it be the emphasis being focus? So for instance, when you're doing the NI, it's an internal focus, and when they're in SE mode, it's an external focus.
Right. Completely external. Outside of your, you don't have enough time to think. It's all instinctual.
Yeah. So I think you'll love that chapter. So if you just quickly look at the diagram on page 26, then it will tell you about what extroverted sensing is. And you might say, "Oh yeah, baby, this is my thing."
Immersive mode. Yes, yeah, definitely. Taking risk and rewards. You only take. It's only a risk if you have fear. Going back to that principle, it's only a risk if you have.
There's bits in the exercises where Dario is he uses how an INTJ uses SE, where it's after calculating the risks. That's not how proper SPs use SE. They're not calculating the risks in an INTJ manner.
Sometimes they are calculating the risks. They just do it really, really fast.
What they're doing is, for instance, someone like Morgan or an ESTP, they're poking at people. They're seeing their reaction. They're getting the sense of the person, and it's in the moment they're picking up the power level, and it could just be something like someone gives someone a look, and it's right.
I don't know if it's mentioned in the book or not, but drawing is the very good exercise on SE. A lot of people actually, when they need to draw something, they draw their idea of something rather than the subject itself. And by learning to draw realistically, you learn more about the subject, the way it really is, and that's sometimes very refreshing. You can get a lot of interesting information out of that. Something you've never noticed.
Well, that would be good. I mean, if the educational system took these lessons on board and adapted their syllabus for people of the SP temperament, they'd be able to get them to focus more. But you need better teachers to be able to teach.
You know what? Since you mentioned SPs, well, Ben has that habit of cursing on people. He will talk about artisans and stuff. But anyway, I had a moment yesterday with my SP kids when my daughter wanted to make up the solar system. She wanted me to be the sun, and she would go around me in an elliptical orbit and go around herself at the same time, which was tricky, and she wanted her brother to be the moon and revolve around her. Well, we eventually rearranged the whole system so Daniel was the sun because the sun was just standing there, and I was doing the trickiest part of the Earth, and Julia was the moon, but eventually we got it where she wanted.
So, Maria, is it like...
Everything worked.
So it's like...
This is learning by doing at its best.
And is that kind of thing where taking something abstract and making it fun, is that really good for you? Like, you really get a buzz out of that?
I would say that it's really, really good. But she came up with the idea. I was just the part of the...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I agree with
but I remember my ISTP friend saying that she can only understand physics if she can see like a cartoon in her head, see everything in a very tangible way.
Oh yeah, very like as you know, you've got the book, Maria. The ISTP is very lot of activity at the back of the brain.
Momentum seeking. I think extroverted sensing has to do with like momentum seeking sometimes, whether that be speaking or activity.
It's being within the context and wanting to interact in that context. Right, so we have Jonathan there. We will get back on topic, but I just wanted to like slightly. Was I here with? Oh yes. So I wonder what's up with Jonathan. What we can do.
There was a chip. Oh god, that's good.
Oh, it's the back scratcher.
Oh god.
The back scratcher.
The back scratcher.
There we go. Oh god.
I want to use that as the thumbnail, and Jonathan, take that down.
Oh.
Right, so at the back of the book there is a fantastic section on tandem use of functions, and this is something that Linda Behrens. So Linda Behrens is a good person because she's the bridge between Kersey and Dario, in that she does all the temperament stuff, but she also innovated. And she had a little bit of a falling out with Kersey over the functions because she was like, oh, I think they're quite useful and interesting. So, and so she developed some. She's in her 70s now, Linda Behrens, and she wrote some stuff on the tandem use of functions. So it's pretty much going with, like with Socionics, like SE going with NI, those kind of things. So we call it the children.
Let's talk about that. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, so it's at the back, and I'll give you the page number. It is 159, page 159. And so we've got there, so the extroverted sensing in tandem with NI. And like Dario's got a fantasy here, I reckon, about someone whipping him on the dance floor because they notice the inner ESFP within him. So it comes across to me.
Yeah, when I thought of that, I've imagined I've been in that situation, but I haven't actually let myself be pulled on. It's like they've always said, "Come on," and I say no.
For me, what I would do is, what I would try, I would do before that. I would take dance lessons. If you're gonna do it properly. Then no one can laugh at you. Then you know you're prepared. Take ballroom lessons. Then you won't get laughed at.
You are talking like a rational type. INTJ may actually learn things on the dance floor. I noticed that.
Oh,
they
Maria,
actually love it.
Yeah, Maria, I have something for you. When you mentioned there about extroverted sensing and doing activities, I have this wonderful cartoon that somebody did of the different kinds of intelligence. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see that there?
Hmm.
Where you've got visuospatial, bodily, kinesthetic, and then musical. And so you can see how sensing types will be good at all those three in the middle. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I like that diagram. That's nice. I'll leave it up. Right, Jonathan back scratching. Right.
You have to draw attention to it.
It's fantastic.
It's just an itch.
So Jonathan,
I have a hairy Scottish back. I need to scratch it something.
So Anthony, you're involved with music. So what do you think of that bit there, extroverted sensor, in that paragraph on page 159?
Getting to the page. 1 second.
I must say that your top at the moment has a lot of extroverted sensing. Lots of bright colours. It's a very interesting pattern.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, once again, it's just go ahead, Maria.
I was saying, how do colors relate to SE?
Well, that's a question.
It doesn't relate to anything. I just like them. I just thought it looks interesting.
Like active colors, I guess. That's a subjective impression, probably. Maria. Anyways, back to extroverted sensing. I think it just once again, it's a very. I don't think it's that complex at all. I think it's just doing action, and it's more based on courage and fear and things like that.
Yeah, it's like the combination there, where he's put at the bottom. Or we might shape the current context to what we envision it can be, like a sculptor who can see the final statue within a chunk. So like the two working together. And then it talks a little bit more about that from the other way around. If you go on the next page, the middle paragraph, it says introverted intuiting, and then it sort of does it in the reverse.
Okay, let me read this real quick. This sounds interesting.
Okay, guys, I think I have to go back to whatever I was busy with, and it's been a while since we started. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Maria.
Have a good rest of the hangout.
You too. Nice talking to you.
Hopefully so. Thank you. Thank you again. It's very gratifying to have you in these hangouts, and this will be another one for the Maria playlist.
Yes.
The Anthony playlist and the Jonathan playlist.
How many videos do I have now?
Oh, you've got quite a few. You've racked them up, Jonathan.
My rise to the top has been rapid.
I've actually totaled them all up. Is that you, Hannah, and Jeff, in terms of the typology hangouts, I think are all equal on 27 videos.
Not till today. No, I take it this means I've surpassed them.
But possibly in terms of the amount of words spoken, Jonathan may have the edge. Because usually I've been doing that Enneagram hangouts where he's been the centre, because he knows about 50 times more than about Enneagram than I do.
I have a theory. This is going back to the book, that extroverted sensing suppresses introverted intuition, correct? So with that being said, the person who's the introverted intuitive rarely carries out their ideas, and the extroverted sensing carries out things often but rarely has a good idea. Yeah.
What do you think about that, Jonathan?
Well, do you think building a wall to keep out the Mexicans is a good idea?
Unfortunately, it's just too much energy.
Yeah.
It's just too much energy to use both. It's too much.
Yes. Need to work on it. It's been the bane of my existence. I've got great ideas and not do anything.
They're almost opposite.
Right. I agree.
They're almost opposite, but it's I can see how they work hand in glove. It's almost like
they are opposites. I agree.
And it's like if someone's unhealthy, then the two things are opposite. But once they're healthier, then maybe they become integrated. It is like that thing. Oh, I have a vision of what could be, and I can act in the moment to shape that context towards this grander plan, rather than just reacting in the moment with without any kind of overall plan. So the NI will shape, give them a. So for instance, we give the SE type of purpose in life. This sense of purpose, I suppose, is an NI thing. If it's from within, they have their own drive of purpose, a way they can be, a goal to go towards. And I see a goal very much as an SENI thing. Whereas Jonathan, I think you've mentioned that, yes, I've got lots of goals, but the problem is getting there.
Don't ever do that again.
I won't.
Yeah.
Right. So what did you think of that, Anthony? Where he was talking about If he goes NT there, he talks about take the actions necessary to build a spaceship to reach that goal. Dario's NT-ness coming through there.
Book in private and then draw upon the conclusions, kind of like sleep on it, I guess. But to ask me the conclusions I draw in the moment, it's not working out. For me, I don't know.
Right,
Yeah.
so if we go back,
it's not going to be good. It's not going to be high quality. I can tell you that. It's going to be just like I need some time to think about it.
right. So if we go back to possible misuses, right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
do you get that third bullet point? Do people keep saying to you, Anthony, you're cool, love your DJ work, but you can be a little strange? Did I say that to you?
Say that again. I didn't hear you. Sorry.
Did I say, Anthony, you're cool, you wear great shirts, I love your DJ work, but you can be a little strange? Did they ever say things like that?
Oh, yeah. A lot of people think I'm strange. Yeah. And that's probably just because
I think you're sticking. I think you might need to
Capacity.
log out and log back in again,
No
Anthony.
problem.
Excellent. And then we're going to be on the next 2 bullet points, and then we're going to be at the part where we should be at.
Yes. How long has this hangout been on for? When did we start?
I don't know, but we started early, and that was a good thing.
7 or after 7, so it's been. It's been nearly 2 hours, and we're still not where we're supposed to be.
But have we got at least another hour from you, Jonathan?
Yes.
Excellent. And we have got at least another hour from you, Anthony.
No, we got about 10 more minutes for me.
Oh my God! And at the end
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Why? What happened?
At the end of those 10 minutes, we'll be at the same point that we are
on the last.
The other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you rewatch this video, we did talk about a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so if we finish off those bullet points,
a lot of it was the same things.
so it's going to be batch 2, part 1 of NI Hangout again.
Yeah, we've progressed. We have progressed to where we were.
But there's nothing better than interviewing the actual users, which is me and Jonathan, reading the book. The book could only I guess paint the picture, but it's not enough. Go ahead.
It gives us the questions to ask you though, and to measure the theory against reality.
Yeah, I know.
And it shows how good Dario's book is. Buy it, folks. Right.
Yeah, that's a good point, Ben.
So if we go down to the bottom of page 75, we've got
You can always try and make this a mega hangout and invite someone else, and I'll stick around and try and finish it.
Next time we'll try do it again. Next time Rachel is available, which might be next Friday.
But this book is the book is very useful because I think it helps another non-user understand that person somewhat.
It's not just what it's in the book; it's what the book stimulates within us to come up with our own thoughts about the functions.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, the stuff in the book's good, but then we can like think for ourselves and say, actually, I agree with that bit. I don't agree with that bit. Actually, you know, because it becomes a starting point for our own thoughts. Right. So then we've got.
True.
I wonder if our one viewer is wondering when Hannah's going to show up. This is supposed to be the Hannah.
The overly focus on self-development, that is completely true.
What about this? Envisioning a specific fantastical image, or have a particularly scary dream.
That's just the irrational paranoia, fear-based thoughts that replay in my head. That's it.
Okay. Alright, reinventing the wheel.
But the overly focus on self-development, that seems to be the most true point in my life.
Right. Okay. So seriously, do we only have 10 minutes left with you, Anthony?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
God.
ask me all the questions you want in 10 minutes, because I'm really hungry. I haven't eaten all day, and it's past lunchtime.
Okay. What we could do is then we will resume the case studies bit in the next hangout. Or maybe what we could do is arrange a situation where Anthony and Rachel Webb. Oh shit! Anthony and Rachel are in. Damn it! Anthony and Rachel are in the same hangout.
Who is Rachel?
She's ENFJ.
ENFJ was in the last
ENFJ?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but she's socionically inclined, so she might be better than any of the ENFJs I've met in reality.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Actually, that's just a name for sure. Actually, her name is Rachel Webber, isn't it, Jonathan?
I don't know.
Yes, it is.
Are you supposed to be saying that on air?
It doesn't matter. Whatever type she is good enough for me, you know. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
But,
Anyway, stalkers don't watch these channels anyway, so we have a better clientele. Yeah, I usually don't like to give a woman's surname in these hangouts.
I have a little last discussion point, and using Model G with the NIFX or SITX or whatever, or I mean, yeah, SITX or whatever. I believe that I guess it's the creative function for us to be FI.
Yeah.
Is the one that is the most egoically biased by nature. I think that one has the most bias in it.
Over to you, Jonathan.
It's TE and ESTPs or what's another good one? I would have to look at a couple more. Or NE and an ENFJ or NE and an ENTJ. Their NE that's the location of the most childish, like egoic or bias, the most self, I think, from experience. Some food for thought.
I don't really know what you mean.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to explain.
Do you know, Jonathan? You've got the NI and FE superpowers.
Were you saying the tertiary function?
No, he's talking about the creative function.
Yeah.
He's talking about the creative function in Model G.
You think that's the most childish?
So for instance, FI and INFJ.
It's like the most I'm right, you're wrong type
most selfish. Most selfish function. So yes, it's like you're saying your selfishness is kind of based on that. We lost. Maybe I'm not here.
Oh no, we're here. I'm just trying to work out what's going on. I'm trying to pull up the diagram of NIFX. There we go.
Yeah, Anthony's gone.
Well, I think is he frozen?
He's froze.
Right. It's when he said ego. I don't know. I'll ask you. I'll just show this to Jonathan. So there we go. There's the creative FI in NIFX. Idealist counselor.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree with that description. That's kind of, I can't get consistent with FI in general.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like this is all based on relationships rather than staying true to yourself. I mean, there is an overlap between the Western version of FI and the Socionics version of FI, because they obviously talk about ethics in when describing the weakness in FI and say ESTP. Yeah, right, we might as well. I think because he said he's going anyway, we might as well end at this point.
I think this book is cursed. Because this is the second time we've done these hangouts and they not went anywhere. We're losing people to dodgy internet connections.
Right, I'm going to make
Dario, what have you done with this book? Where did you get it?
Right, that's another clip. I'm going to make it a clip. Download the video, use VLC record, and I'll record this bit at the end. This 1 minute.
The 8 circles of hell, that's where it's from.
That's what I'll call it, the 8 circles of hell. Type interaction moment number 2. We think your book's great, Dario. So, and you saw that early on. He's the publisher. Anthony has the Linda Bowen's Interaction Styles book, so loyal customer.
His internet shut down spontaneously for some odd reason. That's what happened with me yesterday. Was my exactly the same thing. Again, cursed.
Oh wow!
The creative function is a blind spot for most users and becoming the most out of control easily because of its power. That's what he was saying. A self-righteous ENFJ, for example. Okay. Indeed.
I don't know how many of those are around. Do you get many of them, Jonathan? Self-righteous INFJs?
I'm a type 1. Of course I'm self-righteous. But that also means I'm always right.
Interesting. I can be a bit like that. Annoyingly persistent ESFJ. They get things going. Let's do this hangout. Let's do it. Right. So I think we will end at this moment. So that's Jonathan for his. So what do you said a little bit there about this hangout that we covered the first part again.
Yes.
And then we can bring them together in the second part, Rachel and
yes,
Anthony.
Calling it part one again.
Sorry about that. That was so weird. But yeah, I'm back. But
that happened to me yesterday in the same out. So
yeah, I will review. I'll review Anthony. I think Anthony's been very good in this hangout, and he got on quite well with Maria, and a definite contribution to this hangout. What say you, Jonathan?
Yes.
Wait, but did you guys get my message?
Yes,
we did.
About and yeah, what do you guys think about that? Too subjective. You could dismiss it. I don't care. It's just a proposition.
Oh, I can see some truth in it. It's just something to one.
I think maybe about. Jonathan thinks it varies by Enneagram because he said he is an Enneagram 1.
Well, I said I can be like that anyway. So, I've seen that everything other INFJs can be more self-righteous than I am.
It's just in general though. I think INFPs, FINX is more self-righteous. Ooh. Oh yes, and I can give you an example of that, Anthony. I remembered something because I asked Victor it. An example of how the ESFJ uses SE creatively is in the form of emotional pressure. Right, I think do we have a freeze up?
Hey, I was just cut out by my network provider for like the past 5 minutes, so I don't know what the heck you guys.
No.
Right, okay, we are cussed. Right, so we might as well end it now. Then it's goodbye from me.
That's good night from Anthony.
Yeah. Oh, and JC. Bye bye.